Focusing on what you want is far easier said than done. Trust me, I understand. It feels almost impossible to think I am abundant when your power just got turned off, or you don't have enough money to put food on the table. How can I turn my attention away from what is and to sort of, think about or imagine what feels impossible? It's easier to fall into that hole, to just keep digging yourself deeper, to keep noticing how there isn't enough, to keep thinking about how there isn't enough and have that show up. Imagine attention and intention. So there's these two powers, these forces that are at work at all times, whether or not you realize it or choose to take control of it. They're happening. So first of all, let's look at attention. So attention is whatever you're focused on in the moment, whatever you're thinking about in that particular moment. It could just be, if you're reading a book, you're looking at that book, or if you're, looking up at the sky, that's where your focus or attention is. But wherever you place your attention, know that the power of creation is now placed on that object or that thing. So all the energy of creation is now directed at the thing that your attention is on. That's how powerful that you are. So at that point in time, whatever you're looking at is the only thing that exists. Everything else goes away. There is nothing but that thing. Once we've drawn all the power, all the energy of the creative universe to this object, now we bring in the transformative power. So now we look at it and we say, what do we wish to see as we look at this object? Why are we looking at it? What is our intention behind that? And so once we brought in the intention behind our focus or our attention, the intention has the ability to transform that object or to transform that thing. So even if you're looking at all the lack, but your intention is to look at it so that you can see prosperity, now you've brought the intention in, and that has the ability to transform your lack into prosperity. I had just recently opened up a small business, a yoga studio. However, I was at this point where now bills were due, and I was doing my counting and realized I was about $2,000 short. And so I didn't get worried. I didn't allow myself to feel fearful or feel as though that money wasn't going to show up. I stayed very positive and optimistic, but at the same time, it wasn't there. So I was trying to use my law of attraction tactics, or the things that I teach in my seminars. It's much easier to teach than to actually use them on yourself. And so I stopped and I said, okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do what I tell others to do. I went into my studio space and I meditated. And I laid down and I said, okay, so I would like to find, $2,000. I did a meditation that said that today I was going to find $2,000. And then I hopped up and I decided to go find it. I went to my bank and I talked to them. I said, hey, I need to find $2,000. Can you guys figure out, through all my accounts, how to sift things or shift things and find me $2,000? And they said, absolutely, we'll work on it. But I must have sat there for about an hour, hour and a half, and to no prevail. And so I just left him to work on it, my banker, and went on my way. And I came back to the studio and I laid back down and I just meditated on maybe him finding it or somebody finding this $2,000. And as I meditated, all of a sudden, I just got this vision. It just all of a sudden hit me. Where attention goes, energy flows. And I couldn't believe how obvious it was. I had been placing my attention on finding $2,000. This was keeping me in a state of finding, of I was going to find, which was saying I didn't have it. I needed to shift my attention to the having, to the already having. And the moment I felt it, it was like this rush coming at me, just a complete aha moment. I can't believe I was focusing on finding when what I needed to focus on was having. And I hopped up And I ran out to my front desk and I grabbed a big piece of paper and I wrote on the piece of paper, where attention goes, energy flows, so I could remember that moment and that feeling always. And I started to set it down on my computer screen so I could just look at it right in front of me. And right then, this is within 5 minutes of me walking out to my front desk, the mailman comes walking in to deliver me my mail for the day. Right on the top is a letter that I knew was coming from a company that owed me money. And I completely forgot that this money existed, that they owed me this money. And I open up and I see a check, and the check was for $1,880. Now again, I was looking for $2,000, but I was still giggling to myself as this $1,880, and I'm trying to explain this to the mailman, and he's just like, "Oh, you're crazy," and he leaves. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm still just amused by the whole thing. And within another maybe 3 or 4 minutes of the mailman leaving, this man walks in and asked me if he could buy a gift certificate for his wife for some yoga classes. And I said, absolutely. And he purchased a 10-class pack of classes, which was $120. So I had my $2,000. I went back to the bank, I gave them this money and told them, don't worry about it, I found it.